Hi, I'm Gian, but for short and sweet, they call me G. Hence, Keeping It G with G, the podcast. This is a weekly heart-to-heart based off of authentic life experiences and honesty in hopes to inspire others to be more transparent about the ups and downs of everyday life shit. And to give you, the listeners, that extra push you may need to begin your own journey of self-help and healing. And please, keep in mind that I'm not an expert. I'm just speaking from experience. Now let's start the show. Hey y'all, and we're back with another episode of Keeping It G with G, the podcast. I know y'all are probably like, okay, now what the hell is going on? This is the third episode this week, and that's right. This is the third episode this week because I was feeling spontaneous. So here goes. This is episode 27 of Keeping It G with G, the podcast. And this time I want to discuss sitting with yourself, what it means to sit with yourself, and what it looks like. What it means to sit with yourself is to make a choice to go down a different path. It doesn't mean to isolate. It means to get to know yourself on a deeper level, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Your strengths, weaknesses, what you do like, what you don't like, what makes you happy and what does not make you happy, what gives you peace of mind and what does not. These are very important keys to being self-aware and knowing your self-worth. To be open and allow yourself to be and feel everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and force it to make you a better person and to become more aware of self. I know I'm saying self a lot, so it's sounding like narcissistic and selfish, but I don't mean this in that way. You have to do it healthily, not to overly isolate or make it about yourself 24/7, but in a healthy manner, not in a narcissistic or selfish way. So please keep that in mind when I'm saying to sit with yourself. But then in another light, when life obstacles come, this is when it is imperative for you to sit with yourself in these situations. Personally, I give myself a day or so to sit in it. But I make sure I don't dwell for too long because that's when the devil gets busy with your mind and your thoughts and you start thinking all types of shit that probably will never happen. So it's imperative for you to give yourself some time to feel it and then snap back into it and, find your peace with the life obstacles that come, because they will come. So if you're not mentally strong and able to pick yourself back up by yourself, it's imperative to, lean on a support system, get a journal, read some books. I'm not at all telling you to sweep it under the rug, of course, because we're human, but it's important to not dwell. But to just sit with yourself, by yourself. This is a little bit of how when I sit and be still, what it looks like. I do this frequently. I sit and do nothing. I sit and just be quiet. I sit and read. I sit and write. Y'all know that. I talk about journaling all the damn time. I put my phone on D&D because sometimes I just don't want to be bothered. And I don't feel guilty about it. Sometimes you need time to yourself. I unplug from social media frequently because, like I said, it can get a little overwhelming looking at what this and that person has going on when you need to stay focused on things that you need to focus on. So I definitely am a cheerleader of unplugging from social media frequently, as much as you need to, however long you need to, if it is taking your focus off of things that you need to be focused on, But you can't because you keep picking up your phone. So, back to what it looks like. I sit and force myself to feel whatever emotion I'm feeling, whether it's upset, sad, happy, whatever it is. I force myself to feel it all and be present. Or I go take a ride, which is one of my most favorite things to do, because the music and just riding and just, you don't even necessarily have to have a destination of where you're going, but just to take a ride sometimes is good and healthy, if you need to do so. I don't isolate, but I sit still with myself by myself. To be able to enjoy your own company by simply doing nothing is to get to know yourself on a deeper level, like no other. You become more conscious and aware of self. You can think clearly. You can make decisions better. I try my best to not be indecisive, because it just, fear starts to set in when you become indecisive. I just typically go with my first mind. If it's a yeah, then I roll with it. If it's a no, then I said no, and it's the reason I said no. I am a big fan of listening to intuition and following signs. When you continuously get the same and see the same signs over and over, it's God is trying to tell you something. So you got to roll with it. But like I was saying, you become more conscious and aware of self by sitting with yourself. When you sit still, you have to step outside of yourself and just observe. If you really pay attention, you'll learn a lot about yourself and others when you just sit still and look around and observe your surroundings. Some good times to sit with yourself would be when you're stepping into a new level of life, a new job, relocating, or after a breakup. These are the times where it's good to sit with yourself, get to know yourself, and reevaluate to get a clear mind and set your intentions for the present and future. But again, do not overly isolate. That can be dangerous, and this can be extremely unhealthy if done to the extreme. Like, I can't stress that enough. To be self-aware is the biggest weapon to be armed with, because when you know yourself, you are invincible. Like when you truly, truly, truly know yourself and you stick with it and you stay true to yourself, you can't be fucked with. And excuse my language for those listening who don't, like profanity, but I'm just saying, to get to know yourself authentically is going to take a lot of time. You have to be patient. You have to be accountable. But I encourage this, because once you've learned to take care of yourself on your own terms, you'll be able to enter any situation from a place of real strength instead of need. And we don't like needy. You don't want to be a needy person. You want to be able to, feel whole on your own. Once you understand that you are already whole on your own and that another cannot complete you, a job, material things, this is the true art of self-worth and self-awareness and sitting comfortably with yourself. If you are someone who is like this in terms of letting people, jobs, or material things complete you, I encourage you to take a step back and understand that you are already whole. You are already complete. Those things I just listed are in addition to who you already are. They cannot make you complete. Learn to be complete with yourself first. It's imperative. It's a necessity. And this is not a selfish act. Again, I'm going to keep saying that because it sounds, when you hear self, it sounds like, damn, you sound narcissistic and all about yourself all the time. But no, I don't mean it in that way. I'm going to keep enforcing that because, you get caught up so much in just other things that it's so quick. You can become so quick to forget about yourself. And if you're not well, then nothing that you put your hands on or get into will be well. So that's why I am enforcing a lot of self-awareness, self-worth, self-love, because that is important. So before I end with a quote, I just want to thank you guys for listening to these 3 episodes this week. I know I tugged at your ear like no other this week, but I was feeling spontaneous, like I said, and it was fun. It feels good to just let out and not overthink it and just hit record. Like I said, it won't be an every week thing. It just depends on how I'm feeling. So again, you guys, thank you so much for the support. Anybody who has subscribed, who has shared with their family and friends, who has shared a post, left a comment, left me some feedback, has submitted any questions or advice. I'm so full, and I just thank you guys for being on this journey with me. I want you to know that, I appreciate you, and I am always expressing my gratitude in terms to the podcast, because I see y'all and I appreciate you, and I want to let you know that every chance I get. So, with that being said, let me get into the quote to wrap the show up. It says, "He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened." And that quote is by Lao Tru. And I don't know if I pronounced it right, his name, but I tried. So again, y'all, please don't forget to follow the Instagram page for the podcast, the Twitter for the podcast, and submit any questions and or advice that you have to askg@gmail.com. And that is askgxxh@gmail.com. All that information will be in the show notes like every week. And it's Friday, so I want to encourage you guys to fully enjoy it, to be present, and to find some time to recharge and relax for the week ahead. Don't be running around with your head cut off trying to get your hands in all kinds of different things. And then when you look up, it's Monday and you're drained and tired because you didn't take any time to recharge and reset. So make sure you put time aside to sit with yourself, like we talked about, and to find some time to relax this weekend, but nonetheless enjoy it. And that's the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. And again, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you for the next episode of Keeping It G with G, the podcast.